Hey guys, so I'm sitting here in the Target parking lot. This is not the Target closest to me, but the next one, I guess the second closest. And last night the app changed to say that they had Kia Heart. She was in stock in the aisle. So I got here and that wasn't true. I should have called first, like that's my bad. But so she wasn't in the aisles anywhere. I asked an employee if they would possibly be able to find her, since I did drive a long way. I felt like, like I could at least ask. The worst that happens is they say no and it's not a big deal. Because Brad7 on Facebook, I guess he's Brat7 on Instagram, he recently posted he drove 313 miles to find a Kia doll, and so I feel like complaining about a 30-minute drive is probably a jerk move at this point. There's some really dedicated shoppers out there, and I'm not one of them, not like that. So anyway, so I got here, the employee told me that they couldn't find it, even though it says on the app that it's in stock in the aisles. For them, they don't have it showing up anywhere. They don't have it marked as where it's supposed to be in the aisle or where it's supposed to be in the back. So even if they were to go in the back and look for it, there's no guarantee that they would find it or even know where to start looking. So, like, I really wasn't trying to pull a Karen move, so I just accepted my fate. Like, I'll have to come back a different day, or I might just honestly wait until she's online. I do feel like when photos of new dolls start coming in, you see a lot of doll hysteria, which is like, I guess, kind of the phrase that my friend Tech Specs brought up. And I will link her down below for you because she has a lot of really interesting insight and cool doll sales. But, Rebecca brought up the fact that it's very much a case of people just get hysterical. Like, you want to make sure that you get to find the doll. I think we've all been at that point with Mattel and Monster High, especially where, the dolls sold out or some stores never got them at all, especially with, like, I remember when Cupid first came out, or Nephra, the first Spectra. I never even saw her in a store. Like, she was gone before she ever even showed up. So I think that we've become so used to that with Rainbow High, we are seeing more of that doll hysteria again, of people just really freaking out because, like, if they're not one of the first to find the dolls, like, what if they don't find one at all? For a lot of people, Bella hasn't even shown up in stores, and people are freaking out over, like, the Series 2 and Krystal and here now Kia. So I might honestly just wait until she's on the app and order her versus wasting my time and gas driving around everywhere. I was just in a really, like, a good mood today, so I thought I'd come out, but, like, it's not that serious. How do you get cat food anyway? So I will say, it's probably better if you do call your Targets first to make sure they even can find her, maybe even hold her for you or whatever, versus, like, you rush into the store only to find they're not there. But I did pick up a couple of dyes I was missing that I didn't get to pick up yesterday. Not because the store I went to didn't have them, but because I'm dumb and forgot them. Like, halfway through the store, I forgot to keep checking my list, apparently. So, I'm going to be dyeing one of each of Series 2, including Krystal. We're going to be dyeing, we'll dye one of each of the cheerleader dolls. It's kind of been my goal with Rainbow High to buy one of each. So I want to keep, like, relatively stock, or, like, undyed at the very least, and then one to dye, just to kind of see, because the dye is very much based on what color hair you start with. If I start with purple hair, I can't dye it yellow. Their hair doesn't bleach. It is nylon, so it takes the dye okay. I've seen people using human hair dyes that have been working. Like, I don't think any of us saw that coming, but, like, I think it's Shrimp on a Barbie on Instagram. I'll try to link them below too. They've been using human hair dye and having beautiful success. And then there was another person, I don't remember their name, but I don't know if they'd want to be, like, put out that way anyway, on Facebook, who had dyed it with the Rit Dye Dye More dyes, which are completely different than the Rit Dye All Purpose. The Dye Mores will leach into the plastic and stain your doll. And so they had dyed their doll's hair with the Dye More Brown and had, like, a brown ring all the way across her forehead, her ears, all the way down the back of their doll's neck. If you use Dye More, I mean, I just wouldn't on the hair. and even on the clothes, without vinegar and maybe sealing the inside of the clothing with, I think Crafty Fox, who I will also link below, uses dye more on the clothes and the shoes, and they talk about that a bit on their Instagram. They had mentioned that with, you know, with the clothes and stuff, they put, and shoes I guess too, they put a clear sealer on the inside, like a clear coat of like paint or whatever, so that the clothes wouldn't, or like the dye wouldn't leach back out into the doll's plastic. So do keep that in mind. I did want to go over that because I found like that's very important. But yeah, so dye more, I would just either be really careful or not use it at all on your dolls, because it is going to stain the plastic, whereas the RIT all-purpose dye does not. It doesn't seem to affect the plastic at all. Like, I've held my doll's head down pretty much in there. It dyed the hair fine. It does not dye all the clothes though. It dyes most of them. But I noticed with Violet's jacket, it didn't dye that. I would have had to have used dye more. But again, using the dye more risk like the dye leaching out into the plastic later. Like, we've all gotten dolls who had like black socks or stockings and it stained their legs. That's exactly what dye more is going to do. And I can't guarantee that even vinegar washes will be enough to help. You could try sealing the inside of that garment with clear coated paint. It is going to change potentially the texture of the garment and make it stiffer. So I just wouldn't use it personally. I will link you below to accounts who have used other products so that you can see how they're used, but for me, I'm sticking with the RIT dye all-purpose. So I'm going to drive home now, and then we're going to get to dyeing. Okay guys, showing you everybody I've already done. I redid my gray Bella just because she still had some pink streaks. Got rid of that, made it a more neutral gray. I did try like a wine red and chocolate brown, but honestly, Krystal's hair, even though it's nylon and should have taken, still has a lot of purple in it that really just didn't cover it all. You can see some of it is brown though, like some of the, I guess, more blue tones. And then I had a dark red Ruby already. I just kind of darkened her hair a little more. And then this Skylar actually got like a wine red or eggplant purple is what it was on her hair, and it really doesn't look like it did much. I guess you can kind of see it. It might just be that her scalp is showing through that makes it look brighter still. I know everybody's big question was how to do Karma. I kind of tinfoiled her hair just like I would with human hair, and then I'm going to paint the brown dye mix on with like a human hair hairbrush. So you can see where it's starting to turn her roots. It is probably going to be a really slow process just because I'm not doing it how we normally just dip it and hold it, because we are just doing the roots. So I'm just going to keep doing this for a while, and then I'll show you guys the final results when she's dry. Hey guys, so I'm actually refilming this part right quick because in the original, like, you really couldn't hear me. And I didn't notice until I went to put the video together in editing. So this is not as thorough as the original, but like, I'm just gonna go over a very few steps that I didn't go over in the car right quick, just to get you prepped and ready. I wrote it down because I knew I'd forget. First of all, so like, you've got your doll picked out, you know what you're gonna dye. For me, I ordered seconds of all of Series 2. I went ahead and dyed the cheerleaders because I'd already removed their cheek paint and planned on customizing them. And I do still plan on buying seconds to have like how they're supposed to look originally. The only one of my Series 2 that's come in so far is Krystal. The rest of them are due in either today or tomorrow, so there will be a part 2 again of this video where I talk about dyeing those guys and how that goes. So yeah, you've got your doll picked out, you know, you've picked out what you want them to wear, especially if you're like me. I tend to kind of keep them, I don't know why even, because I don't do it with any other doll series, but I tend to keep my rainbow high very like monochromatic per doll. So like, you know, Jade is all in green, Poppy is all in orange, Ruby's all in red, etc. So you pick out what you want them to wear so you can dye it at the same time. Now again, not all fabrics dye evenly. Some synthetic fabrics will take all-purpose, some won't. So there is a chance that like part of an outfit might dye and the other part won't. Which you'll see later when I show you, like I do the reveal on Violet. It is very much a case of like part of her dyed differently than the other parts. So then you're going to pick out what color dye you want to dye them. Keep in mind that whatever colors you start with, you're adding the dye to that. So in the case of like series 1 of Maya, you've got that white base. You can really go just about any color and it's going to come out good and clean and more true to that color. With everyone else, they already have a previously colored hair, so whatever you add is very much like it's going to be affected by that base color. So now you've got your doll, you've got your outfit, you've got what color you want to dye them. Obviously you can't dye lighter. You can't go yellow over like Krystal's naturally dark purple hair. You can't bleach their hair. The bleach will just more than likely melt their hair. It's not going to work because this isn't human hair. It may turn the colors muddy, but it's not really going to affect it otherwise. It's not going to dye over it if you use a lighter color. I did see someone on Facebook, I just want to address this, use purple shampoo on a Bella. It turned her hair kind of a lavendery color. Purple shampoo has a toner in it, so it will turn your hair, like the doll's hair, more purpley, possibly, if it's light enough. But much like on normal bleached hair, you can't just use any toner. You have to use a toner made for the lightness of that hair. Like this, I couldn't tone with a Wella T18 because it's made for almost white blonde. I would have to use a different toner or bleach my hair again. It's kind of the same with the dolls. Like the same basic theories that Brad Mondo teaches on his hair videos, you're going to really kind of apply to doll hair to a certain extent. Let's see. So I am going to link below a PDF file that Rit Dye offers that shows you basically like all of the color combinations you could possibly make and how much of each dye you put in to get that combination. Again, they're not going to be 100% accurate because it's based on a white base, which you're not using with most of these dolls, but I will still link it because it is very helpful to a degree. Let's see. I personally have like a literally, and I had it in the original video, I don't have it with me now, but like an actual large basket full of different colors of Rit dye. I couldn't really find them at most stores. You know, Michael's, Target, Walmart, they carry like very base colors like your black, your green, your red. Michael's has a few other options, but really most of the ones I found came from Hobby Lobby. I know for various reasons that's not everybody's favorite store, but I couldn't even find them online. Like I couldn't find most of the colors on Amazon, or they wanted like 4 and 5 times the price of like what is normally either between a $3 to $5 dye depending on where you go. Amazon had them for like $18 or more. So I mean, it's up to you if you really hate Hobby Lobby that much to possibly look for them online. Rit does not sell them via their actual website, at least not that I could find. So it is very hard to find a lot of the colors on that PDF in the store, but you might be able to find them. So the other thing is like having your supplies ready for when you dye. You know, you're going to need a towel in order just to not like risk staining your cabinets or getting them all soaking wet when you pull the doll, you know, pull the doll out of the rinse bath. You're going to want to have your vinegar and your salt, which I went over with in a previous video as to how much to use and what to do with those. So it's basically all your supplies. You know, you lay your towel out, you get your hot water ready, your cold water ready if you have a dual-sided sink like I do. You get your dye mixed with your vinegar and your salt. You have your doll like stripped down. You get the clothes that you want to dye with them. Put everything in the dye bath just like I showed in the previous video. For today's video, I'm going to be doing the cheerleader set, like not the series 2, because like I said, my series 2 haven't come in yet. They're due either today or tomorrow. I have Krystal, but she's like the only one I have out of series 2 that's arrived so far, because everything was delayed due to the New Year's holiday. So I will be doing a second part of this video showing the series 2 dye. Let's see. Oh, and you're limited really on how much you can go over their hair. You know, I had a dark red ruby and she wasn't really dark enough for me, so I put her back in a second dye bath. But much like natural hair, the nylon only has so many pores, so it can only absorb so much dye. So it gets to a point where after like the second, maybe even third dye bath, it doesn't get any darker than what you've got. Like what you've got is as good as it's gonna get. So do also keep that in mind if you notice that, like, you know, you've put your doll in the dark brown dye or the black dye multiple times and it doesn't seem to be getting dark enough, that it is limited. You know, I have seen people, like I said, that I'll link below, who have used human hair dye and had it come out. But again, that risks staining the plastic of the doll, so do keep in mind before you use it to be very careful brushing it on or rubbing it on to not get it on your doll. Make sure that your hands are completely clean before you touch your doll's body, because I did see where someone, I think again it was Crafty Fox, that said that they had washed their hands but they had stains on it, and when they touched the doll, the stains from their hands still stained the doll. I haven't tried Rit Dye's dye fixative or the remover, so I can't really speak on those as far as whether or not they work, but I'm going to kind of show you right now, like mid-process, where everybody's hair was, who I might go over again, and then I'm going to show you them all dry. I know you're probably really excited to see Karma's roots. I think they came out really well, but like this next section is going to show you what they look like as I was doing them, as well as how I did them. Okay, so while the second set dries, for some reason Poppy's hair turned like a really strange lavender when I added the brown. It even looks like kind of greenish, so I'm probably gonna go over hers again. We've got Karma's roots, but it's very hard to see how dark they'll really be until they dry. They may need to be gone over again. I wanted kind of like a very like sea green like color for this particular Sunny. I just kind of wanted to make her hair and eyes match, and you can still see some of the yellow. So I may go over it again, I may not, I may just leave it blended like that. One of the major things with their hair is because it's a blended bunch of shades, it comes out differently. So even these guys, like you can see where some of Skylar's blue stayed blue, some of it turned purple. You know, it's definitely a mixture of everything you do. And the last segment, we just did everybody's hair a little darker. Kind of was trying to match their eyes, but the purple on Ruby's hair just kind of came out more burgundy. So I guess we'll check back in once everybody's dry. Alright, so now we're at the part of the video where I'm going to show you guys how everybody came out. First of all, I did want to talk about, since I had mentioned her, my series 1 of Maya. I gave her the show haircut, where it's just about to the bottom of her skirt length. There is no rainbow underneath, but she did keep her tinsel, much like in the show. I will say, I'm probably going to go over her scalp, because where the rainbow is painted in, like you can still see it through a little in some spots, so I'll probably paint that white. But I am going to dye the second one that I get, or possibly this one, and maybe just keep the second one. This one had really awful hair. Do let me know what you think I should do with her hair. If you think it should be, you know, a peach or mint. I really want to go with something pastel, like a baby blue or a lavender. We kind of already have lavender with Avery's wig, so my collection's over there, so I keep looking for reference. But yeah, comment down below. Let me know what you think would go well with, you know, her eyeshadow, or what you think you would just really like to see on her, and that's what we'll do. For next up, so you all seen regular Poppy, I'm sure. Her hair is very peachy, which is why I have her in this outfit. It really didn't go with her like leathery, pleathery outfit, which was much darker. So I did dye a darker version of Poppy prior. I'm just kind of actually showing her in this video because I'm not sure if I showed her in a previous one. But her, I mean, as you can see, like her hair goes with the darker outfit much better. That was mixed with coral Rit dye because I couldn't find sunshine orange. Like I mentioned previously, some colors are harder to find than others. But it was sunshine orange and a bit of scarlet red. For anybody who wants to replicate that You've all seen Original Ruby, who's very gorgeous. I did a darker version, and she is with the wine-colored Rit dye. She had 2 baths of it. I did her shirt. Her pants are the blue ones from Avery's closet, and they have like the black Rit dye on them, and it just turned them gray. Like I said, a lot of the fabrics don't absorb the dyes as you would think they would, so you'll be really surprised at what you're gonna get. So while we have Garnet Ruby, we also have this one, who I think was the eggplant dye. I'm trying to see if you can put them together enough for you to tell the difference. It is darker, and it is more purple. My goal with her was actually to get her more of a purple red, to bring out the purple in her eyes. She has Krystal's pants that have been kind of cut and styled, and her sheer hoodie. But I do plan on going over her hair again to make it more purple. You can see where some of the different colored streaks didn't absorb the dye the same. So some streaks are still more reddish, whereas some are more purple. You've already seen Original Violet, so I'm not going to pull her back out, but I did do a darker version. This is with the plain purple Rit dye. She's more, I mean, she's not really what we thought the indigo was going to be, simply because I think it had Skylar's skin tone, but she is kind of based off of that. So I do have my original Krystal, who's incredibly lovely. You can tell her hair has a lot of purple and blue. I wanted to dye my secondary Krystal to have a more of a, like a burgundy-ish or a reddish tones in her hair. So I used wine and some chocolate dye to make it darker, and it really didn't do much. You can kind of see some of the blue color turned like the dark brown or the chocolatey, almost black. Like it really didn't make a huge difference. It's darker, but that's about it. So I am gonna go over her hair again, and try to leave it in longer this time and see if anything happens. And so when I do the second part of this video on series 2, I'll show you guys how that came out. You all know what original Skylar looked like. I did a navy version. Her hair was actually supposed to be black, and you can see some black in it, but it really just turned dark blue. It didn't go all the way black. And Rit's black dye does have that kind of habit of not really turning black. Like you have to really have it in like just super hot boiling water, which I don't really do because I don't know, I feel uncomfortable boiling their hair at too high a temperature. I'm like worried I'll ruin it. But you have to boil it like really, really hot and do it multiple times even. So I wanted to do a more purplish, I guess, base on her, and I used, I'm trying to remember what dye I even used on her. Originally I'd wanted to take her gray, but I didn't think it was going to show up. I may give it another try, but I will point out later what I used on her, or earlier maybe I said it. But yeah, so her hair did come out. It's not the same shade. It's got a lot of purple in it and some black streaks. So again, I might go over her hair and either try to take it more purple or try to take it somewhere, or maybe just go over the navy one again and try to get her darker black, since this is a more darker blue. I've always wanted a teal girl. Really only Amaya's hair has been light enough to take it to teal. I thought that Jade's would, and it wouldn't. It didn't. It just came out a darker, stranger green. It did not come out teal at all. So I decided with Sheer Violet, since she had a lot of light streaks in her hair, we were gonna go teal. These are way more beautiful and vibrant in person than what I can even show you with a ring light. Her hair has so many colors in it. It's got like a sea green, it's got like a true teal, it's still got some of that like violet shade to it, and so does her dress. Now it's funny because this part turned teal, the ribbons stayed lavender, and this part turned almost a silvery gray. So again, it matches her hair, and that her hair did the same thing. But anytime you're dyeing something with multiple different styles of fabrics, the dye may not absorb into each fabric the same. So do keep that in mind, that you may be disappointed if it doesn't show up the way you think it's going to. You can boil the water, put the clothes in. You have to risk some of the synthetic fabrics possibly melting if it's too hot, but boiling the water and getting it even hotter than I do may make the dye take better. RIT does say the hotter the water, the better the dye will take. All right, so you've seen Original Sunny. I have a tale of two Sunnies here. So many of you have seen my dark green or forest green, which is the color I used, Sunny on Instagram. I had seen where someone used teal and got a very like a sea foam green. So I did that with Sheer Sunny, and you can tell like it's much lighter. I feel like the lighting today is very yellowy. I probably should have turned on my overhead light too, but it was already like just really bright. So I did give her kind of this seafoam green color. It's almost kind of, it's a little dark for me to be considered minty, but it's kind of on that minty side because the yellows were different colors, so they took differently. Some are lighter than others. You remember Original Jade, of course. I got her in some Karma clothes because I hate Jade's original clothes. Again, I had tried black after dark blue or like navy blue Skylar didn't turn black. I tried it with Jade and just ended up getting a super dark green color. So, you know, you can see here, it's very, very dark, but still not black. So I decided to try one more time to do a teal color before I laid it down on Sky, or on Violet. And I tried it on Jade and it just turned her hair. It's like it's a darker green, like a middle green, like a Kelly green, but it's not, like it's darker than original, but it's not teal. It is more like teal base. It's a very like peacock green. And I just used the teal dye on her. No, teal and some emerald. I did mix some emerald because the teal is actually very light, and I tried teal on the dark green version originally. It didn't do anything, which is why I decided to try black. So do keep that in mind. Like the teal isn't like a real true, you know, it's like River's hair. It's not like what you think of when you think of teal. Like it's not that peacocky color. It's the dye itself is more like what River's actual hair is. I had this gray Bella already, so I dyed her hair with the pearl gray and it left it very blue toned. I gave it a coral bath since orange cancels out blue, but there were still some like pink streaks. So this time I used the charcoal gray and it came out a much darker true gray. I'm much more happy with it in general. Like it's a very nice, like really pretty shade of gray. With Poppy, I wanted to go and I wanted to try brown. I actually mixed the chocolate brown and the tan and got a light brown for her. I know somebody said brown is boring on Facebook, but like, I don't care. I wanted the full spectrum of colors, and that includes brown. So, you know, it does include the fact that her hair is a mixture of the neon orange and the pink. So when it dyed, it came out a mixture of almost like lavender and light brown that almost kind of has like greenish tones to it. I'm gonna go over it again when I do series 2 and see if I can't get it a more true clean brown. And then last but not least, we have Karma. I know everybody's been waiting to see how Karma's roots came out, and here she is. I'll have pictures on my Instagram, which I'll link below, which I think will show a much more like cleaner picture of them. But I also did around the fronts, and then because her hair was kind of pulled up in like a half up, half down style in the foil, I painted some on some of the lower as well, like some of the lower hair, just so that it was a more gradient blend and not too chunky and not too like straight across. So I absolutely adore this Karma. I don't know if when I get my second one, if I'm going to dye her a different color or if I'm just going to keep her plain, since this one is technically my dyed one. But there you go. That's everybody. You know, like I said, series 2 is coming up, and I'll, you know, some people will be getting re-dyed, so you'll get to see what happens there. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was informative. And if you guys liked it, please hit like below, subscribe, turn on that bell for notifications. I'm trying to make sure that I do them weekly, but like it can be hard to keep up. So definitely you want to sign up for notifications for whenever I post if you're interested in these videos, and I will see you guys for series 2.